You just burped and blew it at me. That shit smells like condom, bro.
Alright, so this is what we're going to start off with. Obviously, this would be more of a... We definitely have to mention in regards to us working down in Bethesda, you know?
Yeah.
And we definitely have to throw in the routes that we took because, I mean, it's not going to be more of a question to me, but we have to throw in.
How I used to tell you what to do and you didn't do it, and now you like this fucking
No.
VA guru?
No. How you have wanted to push me to do the MEDBOARD, but I didn't.
Yep.
You know? But at the end of the day, we still ended up in the same fucking boat.
Yeah, you know? Look at me. It took me 4.5 years.
Same boat, so it doesn't matter. The only thing is your boat. Your
and
boat
you know,
is
the
a lot.
last doctor that I saw, when he looked at my paperwork, first of all, any VA representative that I took my stuff to, they all said the same thing. They were like, I have never seen anyone's paperwork put together like this. Ever. And I told him, I was like, you see how you tell me that? I was like, now could you imagine how I feel knowing that for 4.5 years I took a veteran from point A all the way to point Z with no flaws, and now here I am, the go-to guy doing this, and them telling me that I'm missing paperwork, etc. And none of them, they were just like, I don't understand. Even the last doctor, he was like, but it's right here. I was like, yeah, I know. It's like, they're telling me that, you know, it's not bilateral or that it's not service connected, etc.
And the problem is that they don't want to, when they look over the paperwork, to them it's just, they're just flipping through. They want to go through it quickly.
Right, it's repetition. And there's so much.
But it's just like veterans themselves. Like when they watch these videos, they want to flip through them.
Right, like give me the information that I need and that's it, but
you're missing it. You're missing the whole point.
Just tell me what I need to know about PTSD, and they skip, but then you just skip through when you were talking about this is what you got to do. See this person, boom, boom, boom. It's like you just fucked up. You skip. You listen to when you planted the seed, you didn't watch it grow, and now you reaching for the branches. Like you just, like why did you do that? You played yourself.
Exactly. So we're definitely gonna catch this and we're gonna include it.
Right.
But we definitely have to talk about how you got MEDBOARDed and I took the different route. And at the end of the day, no matter how good you are, because we knew how the system worked, but it doesn't matter how good you are. It's just depending on the rater that you get. The person that's rating you at the time, after they receive the CMP exam from the CMP doctor themselves, it's all up to that person and how they review their paperwork. You know? Just like when we used to look over paperwork, it was all about how good we were at reviewing the files.
Right, it's the proficiency.
So that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, that you could be on point with everything, but if you get a piece of shit rater back at the VA,
it's such a big misconception, and it's so easy to want to give up when you know you did everything by the book. But that's why I used to tell, even when we went to Bethesda, I used to tell them, I'm like, hell no, like no, don't give up, fight that. Oh no, because if I do that, they want to give me an extension. I'm like, dude, 7 months for an extra $1,500 for the rest of your life every month. I mean, let's do basic math. I remember I used to have to do basic math with them. I'm like, 7 months, you're gonna get all this money. First of all, you're gonna get all this money retro. So like,
it is retro.
Is it really that bad here? that you're just gonna skip all this and forget about this for the rest of your life. I would have to tell them shit that would, so they could go home and like piss them off. I'm like, yo, think about it. Don't think about now. Like, yeah, you good, whatever. You know, you got your prosthetic. There's that thing. You know, think about when you're 60 years old, 65 years old, and you can't work. You're gonna really wish, like, damn, I wish I had those extra $1,500.
Exactly.
And I had to say shit like that to them to get them to be like, you know what, you're right. And everyone's thinking at the moment, it's like, oh, I'm good. Nothing's happening.
Yes, because a lot of the veterans that I do encounter, that I talk to, when you explain to them the leg work, they're like, their first initial reaction is, let me go and let me get a lawyer. Would you advise me getting a lawyer? Or would the VSO do this? Yeah, you can go get them. You can do the same thing that they're going to do, but now they're going to get a percentage off of you. Huh. But you still got to do all the leg work. And if you don't do any of the leg work,
all they're doing is presenting.
Yeah, and the lawyer is useless.
And who's to say that they don't do a good job in presenting it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's still, you're going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's the same shit. But it's like that with anything, right? So, like, you know, look, for example, let's take real estate, right? Real estate, you could buy the book, learn how to do it yourself, or you could go into, oh, this guy's selling his program for $97 a month. Let me go and pay him $97 so that he can tell me what to do. But you still, he's just laying down the foundation. Hey, I'm gonna help you do what you gotta do. But all right, now you can fast forward. Do it. At the end of the day, you still have to do the work yourself. It's not like, oh, you're gonna pay him $97 and he's gonna, oh, here's the deal of a lifetime. No, you still have to put in work. So either avenue you take, you have to put in work, getting your paperwork, getting all the documentation correct, knowing what it is you're gonna say, what does hurt you.
I know.
Like I said, that it is a very discouraging process. And I tell a lot of the cops that come to me now, I tell them, I'm like, listen, you have to mentally prepare yourself for this, because this is gonna be challenging. It can go smooth. 3 months, 6 months, you might get great news back. Oh my goodness, yo, I got 60% first shot. Boom, that's great. Or you can get 10%, and you're gonna keep fighting that. It could be months, years. And I tell them, when I tell them I was to 4.5 years, sometimes they don't believe me, because it's like, yo, how you just told me that you was the representative for all wounded, ill, and injured for the entire East Coast, and then you yourself are going through this problem? Like, people interpret that as like, you suck, you don't know what the hell you're doing. And I don't know, I don't. It's the people that this is coming in front of suck.
Exactly. And they don't understand that.
People think because these people work for the VA that they just know everything. Mm-hmm. How many times did I get in trouble when I was in Bethesda because I had to put one of these civilians on blast because they were relaying wrong information to the Marines? And then they would sit down, oh, hey, Sergeant Santiago, well, Mrs. whatever or Mr. whatever told me that this is what they're doing. I'd be like, no, they're wrong. And to them, they just automatically assumed, well, you know, they work with the VA and they've been doing this 15, 20 years. And it's kind of like, motherfucker, look, see this book right here? There's 400 pages, and you flip it and you show them, look, what does it say there? This is the Bible. And then they look at it and go, oh, it's a myth. Like, they think just because these people work for the VA that it can't be like any other worker. Like, so what? You could work for General Motors. Does that mean you know how to build an amazing vehicle? No.
That's like I had, now that you brought that up, I'm glad you brought that up. I told you plenty of time I'm with DAV. It just so happens that, you know, you fucking, your handle is Call Me Dov, but it's because it's David. But DAV, Disabled American Veterans, I had an appointment not too long ago, and the dude that I normally go to, which is the supervisor for that chapter, obviously he stood shut, but he looked at me and he was like, you know, just listen to what I'm about to tell you, because he didn't want to burn his bridges. But his guys were in there listening to my story, and they were like, oh no, you're not 100%, you're not a full 100%. So I was like, what do you mean I'm not a full 100%? Explain to me what you're trying to make me understand. Because it's not, whatever's coming out your mouth is not being displayed or relayed correctly to me. It's just going over my head. So they asked me to pull up my compensations on my disabilities. So I pull it up for them. And I was like, it says 100% right there, 30%, 10%, 10%, 10%. I was like, what is it about you not understanding that one claims, that one service connection is 100%? That's not a real 100%. That's the 30%. I was like, bro, you can't be a VSO and you're explaining a math that I have a bachelor's in computer engineering, that I have to go through so much math. I was like, I'm going through another bachelor's. This is in electrical engineering. I'm going through so much math. I learned this math from the VA, explained by so many veterans that have been doing this. And it's like, you're trying to teach another veteran how to do this. I was like, you're not understanding your math, bro. You're wrong. He's like, no, you're not a real one. It's like, that's the reason why you're a scheduler. I was like, do you even know why I'm a scheduler? I was like, do you understand what schedule rating is? And then he was trying to explain it to me. He was like, no, but... And then based on my job, a lot of people tend to get, they're like, yo, but your job is going to find out. Your job is going to forget. My job is not going to fire me. First of all, this is federal, job is city. And at the end of the day, I got service connected after I got on the job. And whatever I am service connected for, it's not like I'm looking to scam or anything to do with my job.
Right.
My job is is different. The other thing is separate.
Yeah. What's required from you to do, what the Marine Corps requires you to do, is not going to be required
exactly
from you as a firefighter.
So I was telling him, because he was like,
certain chaotic instances, but for the most part.
Yeah. So he was like, oh, but yeah, maybe your job is... I was trying to tell him, I was like, look, man, I'm not, at the end of the day, with the information that you're relaying in regards to the 100%, you don't understand what you're talking about. And if you're gonna sit there and school me like an old cat, that's been doing this for such a long time, and I was like, and you yourself were a civil servant, you're not passing on the right information. I was like, look, I completely respect you, a Purple Heart recipient, yada yada. It's just that what you're telling me, maybe you need to update yourself on your information. And it was what pissed me off even more is that there was another VSO there, and he was like, yeah, but I'm not understanding that, you go to school, how are you supposed to be this 100%, but you're in school and you're able to understand? I was like, because that's the way the mind works, and it's completely different. Maybe your mind doesn't work as fast as the way my mind works, but not every veteran is the same. Not every veteran can tolerate one combat tour, 2 combat tours, 3 combat tours. One may stop at 1 combat tour. There's another one that might not even reach that first combat tour, and they get fucked up in the head. The other one might reach the first combat tour and then they're fucked up. Another one might reach all the way to their 4th combat tour, and that's when they realize that their mind is fucked up. So not every mind is the same. I was like, it just so happens that my mind looks to deal with its post-traumatic stress disorder in schooling, in education, and that's the way it reacts much better under stressful conditions. I was like, but now you're trying to tell me, because you've been doing this for such a long time, that you're more experienced and know what you're doing. I was like, bro,
it's crazy because a lot of those guys, they really have, from what I've found, they have more experience with the Vietnam veterans, right? So they're trying to pass along what they've experienced from the Vietnam veterans and like, the stresses that they showed or how they reacted to PTSD. It was a totally different time. You're talking about like when we came home, like people were clapping for us. Like when they came home, people were spitting at them in their faces, calling them murderers, this, that, etc., etc. But what I find too is, because even me sometimes when I go to Vietnam, I'm just listening to these guys like giving each other advice. These representatives almost give the veterans the same stigma that society does. It's kind of like, well, how you got this and you going to school? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Because like I'm 100% disabled for PTSD. Like I can't function like that. What makes you think like PTSD is such a broad diagnosis? Like some people experience when they're sleeping. Some people experience it when they're around a group of people. Some people experience it when they start getting a little stressed. Some people experience it when they hear something. Some people when they smell something. Like, there's not this just one thing specifically that triggers it. So when they start saying that, like, oh, how are you 100% and you got this education, this, that, the third, like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, you're applying a stigma.
They don't.
So that right there, that's how you know they don't know what the hell they talking about.
Exactly, because